I'm going to reconvene the annual budget meeting for the RTM. Today is May 23rd, and it is 7:05 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Adams? Bailey? Here. Burrell?
Here.
Bright?
Here.
Casper?
Here.
Surf? Representative Surf is here. I see her standing up. Chase? Here. Kopp? Here. Crockett Hubbard? Dean Shinbrot?
Recording in progress.
Dean Shinbrot is here.
Here.
Eben?
No.
Frickman? Not yet. Pritchie? Representative Pritchie?
Here.
Gardner?
Here.
Gothier?
Here.
Guinapiro? Gustafson?
Here.
When Piero is here.
Okay. Oh. I heard her, but it was fine. Hainline? Hainline? Nope. Hanscom? There she is.
Here.
Ivy?
No.
Jacome? He's gonna be late. Massett?
Here.
Merritt?
Here.
Norman? Aubrey?
Here.
K. Powers? Nope. S. Powers? Pacino? Pacino? Going once? Ray? Scott?
Here.
Cimarero?
Here.
Thomas?
Here.
B.C. Williams? Here. Watson?
Here.
Weaver? Wells?
Here.
White? Here. Whitney? Rusk?
Here.
27 at call, and then we'll just keep an eye on. Let me know if you see anybody come in. I didn't bring my gloves.
All right, we are going to start with account 1051 on page 131. Representative Gothier.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Account 1051, Human Services.
Just for the record, Marge Fondulis, who is the director, is on Zoom. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So the committee passed unanimously $589,973 for this account, and that's the amount that I moved to the floor.
Second.
589,973.
That's Scott Power.
Yes, 589,973.
Thank you. Motion made by Representative Gothier, seconded by Representative Powers. If you want to speak to this, or do you want me to move to Director Fondulis?
If Director Fondulis has anything she'd like to speak about, then I'll leave the floor for her.
Good evening, everyone. This is Marge Fondulis, Director of Human Services for Groton. The budget that was presented to the town manager is a level service budget. It includes a slight increase because of the negotiated raises for our staff, which I'm the only non-union person on the staff. There's 7 of us right now on the staff at the department. And so the increase includes that negotiated raises for those department staff. And the one position is budgeted, but currently not filled, and that's a youth counselor position, which has been, I've been waiting to fill that position, and I'm looking now to the fall probably to do that. I will probably submit a request to fill to the town manager in the fall, because we've been waiting for the referrals to pick up from the schools in particular. And I think we're starting to see that trend. And as I say, probably in the fall, I will be asking to fill that position. Other than that, staff, everything is stable in the department. We operated throughout COVID. Staff was wonderful as far as maintaining services, and it's been certainly a pleasure to work with a very experienced and dedicated staff in the department. So I would be happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Any questions or comments? Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I have a couple of questions for the director. In particular, with respect to the social worker and the YFS counselors, I'd like some clarification as to what those individuals do, and if they accept, well, I'll just leave it at that and I'll go on from there. What is it that those individuals do for the department?
The social workers are the individuals that deal with anyone who comes into the department or contacts the department who has a need for financial assistance or any kind of support, and it could be emotional support, it could be dealing with a family member who needs to be placed in a treatment facility, or any number of situations that affect families or households in our community. And the youth counselor deals with children aged roughly 5 to 18 who are referred to the department for what we call short-term counseling, which is 3 months counseling. And this, usually the referrals come from schools. Occasionally a parent will call and want to make a direct referral, having been maybe referred by a guidance counselor or a social worker in the school. So it's but it's brief counseling. It's not a long-term situation, and we accept cases only on the basis that they could be satisfactorily handled during that 3-month time frame.
Okay. Continuing with my line of thought here, if we're getting referrals from the schools in town, it's my understanding we have school-based health centers that have counseling services as part of their operation. Why is it that those providers are unable to handle the children that are getting referred to you?
I would not want to answer for the schools in this particular case, but I can tell you that their counseling is usually a longer-term situation in the school, and usually the referrals made to us are for situations involving students who are perhaps having a hard time adjusting to a new school year, to a new grade, to a new school period. They're not the types of situations that would normally be dealt with on a longer term basis by the school personnel in the school-based health centers.
So is there a written guideline that delineates what a child could be treated for in the school versus what would be treated for in your facility? I guess I don't understand why it feels like there's duplication. That's what I'm trying to back into here.
No, it's not a case of duplication, because the school, I don't know what the guidelines are as far as the school-based health center, but I do know that the referrals that come to us are situations. It could be a student who's been bullied, or a student who has a new step parent and is having a difficult time adjusting to that. There's situations that can be remedied over a short-term counseling period, as opposed to a longer-term session that the school would be conducting with a student.
So what would be the condition? I mean, would the school-based health center counselors not do any short-term treatment at all? It's always going to be a 6-month or a school year type period? I guess I don't understand why they delineate this. this way?
Questions that need to answer directly.
I'm sorry, you broke
we
up. Could you
missed
repeat that?
Director Fondulis, can you
I
repeat?
said those are questions, those would be questions that the school would need to handle directly.
Okay, but that directly impacts your operation, so you haven't had any conversation between the school as to why they can handle certain things versus why you have to handle certain things for them?
We are pleased to get referrals from the schools, and we assess those referrals as we get them, and if we feel it's appropriate, then we deal with the student.
Okay. What would be the average workflow for the youth counselors right now? How many children are they treating?
At the present time, he has 7 cases. I think he also has a couple of juvenile review board cases that he's dealing with. He can go up to probably 15 cases. That's usually been our max over the years.
And do you know how many cases the school counselors are handling at the same time?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay. So at this time how long have you been short a youth counselor?
The person that was in the position left just at the beginning of COVID, so that was 2020. And I've been carrying this position with the hopes of filling it since then. And as I say, unfortunately, COVID turned out to be a bit more difficult to deal with than I think any of us anticipated. So it prolonged the period of time that the position remained open. And I felt it was prudent not to fill the position. There was no reason to fill the position if I couldn't justify it, certainly. And I'm getting to the point now of seeing that there are increasing referrals coming through, so that, as I say, probably in the fall, I will be asking the manager for requesting to fill the position.
Okay, so you wouldn't necessarily need a full year's worth of money then if you're going to wait till the fall to fill this. Am I correct? Your budget plan shows a full year's salary for the youth counselor.
That's correct.
So what would be a smaller number we could work with to cover fall forward?
I wouldn't want to be held to a limited amount in the budget that would dictate when I could hire a person. I may choose to hire a person sooner than the fall, but I would prefer to have the full amount available to me in the budget.
Okay, but so how many kids did your youth counselors, the one counselor that you have, treat through COVID? Was it 7 or was it less?
No, it hovered around. I think he had 8 at one point. He had less than that. It hovered around a maximum of 8 cases. There were kids during COVID. Largely, there were children, as you might suspect, that were dealing with the remote learning, that were having a difficult time adjusting to not being around their friends, not being in school. So there were referrals that we received from parents largely during that time for children that were having a difficult time. And it was interesting because the younger children that the counselor worked with wanted to come in to the building, to our building, and meet with him, and we did make that possible. We could use our conference room and have them socially distanced and everybody wore masks, but the kids did not want to deal through the computer. They wanted to come in and be counseled directly. Older kids were okay doing the counseling through the computer.
So what other projects does the youth counselor work on? I mean, I'm thinking that if they're treating 8 children, that's 8 hours of treatment a week. If they get an hour's worth of service per person, what fills the remaining 40 hours?
There are normally programs that operate in the schools, and the youth counselor is certainly connected with all the schools as far as what types of programs can be provided throughout
You're breaking
years,
up.
we've offered a variety of different programs to all the schools in the community. And there also are community programs going on, such as an event that recently took place at Quantic Plains Park, and the youth counselor was there. He also attended an event at the high school, the middle school, not too long ago. There are any number of activities going on at any given time that the counselor is involved with, whether it's through GASP or some other organization in the community. So it's and as I mentioned earlier, there also are juvenile review board referrals that come through. And that is another aspect of the counselor's job.
Representative Scott, I'm just giving you fair warning. You've got about a minute left.
Okay, that's fine. Well, my last question before I have to give the microphone up for a few minutes. I don't know if anybody else has got any questions. If we ask this youth counselor to double the workload of students, so 16 kids instead of 8, would that person still be able to accomplish these other things that you have listed?
I can only base that on what's happened in the past, and it's been felt that it was the maximum of 15 cases per counselor was the right number in order to accomplish other activities, other demands of the job. And normally we've had, well, in the past we had 2 full-time counselors. At one point we had a full-time and a couple of part-time counselors. But the responsibilities for the full-time counselor have really worked out best when there was a max of 15 clients per counselor.
Okay, so before I get the microphone up, I'm going to put a motion on the floor. In looking, my motion on the floor is a new number. It's $524,973, which, if I've done my math correctly, is a reduction of $65,000, which is one youth counselor, which apparently is not being used at this time. And I think from what we just heard, the person can handle it. Thank you.
Motion made by Representative Scott, seconded by Representative Chase, in the amount of $524,973. Any other questions or comments? Representative Chase.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Director Fondoulis, do you bill insurance companies for counseling?
I'm sorry, was the question, do I bill insurance companies?
Yes.
No, the whole premise of youth services bureaus in the state of Connecticut is that the services are provided free of charge.
So is that a law?
When the Juvenile Justice Commission created youth service bureaus back in the 70s, that was the understanding, that was the goal, that there be that youth service bureaus be a support to parents and families in the community.
So wouldn't it be free to them if you billed insurance, though?
If we build insurance, we would put ourselves in the same category as every other counseling agency, and we probably would not have the ability to serve the people that we do serve currently, many of whom are in a financial situation that would put them in a tough spot if they had to pay for counseling, or many of them do not have insurance, or they don't have adequate insurance.
But they have access to insurance these days through the exchange. So I was just wondering why we don't use that.
That would require, we are following the guidelines and the premise of youth services across the state of Connecticut, and that is the understanding. I think most communities have a youth services bureau, and none of those youth services bureaus charge for services.
Maybe we can look into that for next year or during this year, so we can have an answer next year during budget hearings.
Is that a question?
Yes.
I would I'm not sure how that would work, if we would even be able to maintain a youth services bureau under that premise. We receive funding from the state Department of Children and Families now, a grant that partially funds the program, and I'm not sure that you could play both ends against the middle there.
But that's only $27,000, so that's not that much.
That's true. That's absolutely correct, and it's always been a small amount, but nevertheless, that's part of the understanding of providing youth services, that that grant is made available to the town.
So what I'm saying is, if you got collected insurance money, it would be much more than that $27,000, and it would save Groton taxpayers a lot of money, because about $500,000 of this budget is just salaries and fringe and all that. So, all right, thank you.
Representative Bailey?
Thank you very much. I appreciate what you do, and there's times when people get kind of beat up and stuff, but the leadership is very heavy. That's all I got to say about that.
Any other questions and comments? Representative Aubry, you don't have a name tag in front of you. I told you I'd forget names.
I couldn't hear you. I couldn't agree with going down on this account. You know, very shortly, schools are going to be closed, and there's no counseling for kids in the summertime from the schools. Counselors don't work in the summer, so I'm sure the numbers are going to go up. The numbers that are going up now are suicides of children, children cutting themselves, a lot of stress, just an enormous amount of problems out there. And I think for us to make a cut like that at this time would be very foolish, because I'm sure that, as I say, I'm sure when the schools close, the numbers must go up. I don't know where these children would be going. So I would ask you not to go with the lower number, stay with the higher number. What you want to remember is, I know it's probably a lopsided way to look at it, but if the funds aren't spent, they come back to the town. But I think right now we need every avenue open to help these children. Thank you.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd like to echo the sentiments of my fellow Representative Aubry. I don't think it's the right time to cut this number. I can understand the concerns of my colleagues back here. However, I don't know if filing for insurance would be a good way to go, because that's not consistent. That's basically on a case-by-case basis, and this seems like it's a situation that you want to have sort of a catch basin, a safety net, so to speak, and I think that's a great point that Representative Aubry brings up regarding the summertime coming up. Again, if we want to look critically at this number, we may want to do some research on it starting now, looking into it next year, of like better ways to fund it or other ways to perform the services, provide the services. But right now, I'm not in favor of the cut. I'm not in favor of the amended number. I'm in favor of the 589,973. And I encourage everyone to vote for that. Thank you.
Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I just want to follow up on my motion, if I could, and just reiterate what we heard Director Fondoulis talk about tonight. She said that the workload that the current the single youth counselor is handling is 8 children. She doesn't talk about any markup happening during the summertime. It's 8 children. And that the individual can handle up to 15 and still be able to be a productive part of her department. In the meantime, this position has sat empty now for about 2 years, and Director Fondoulis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if the position's been sitting empty for 2 years, we've already had some pretty tough summers. I think, I've stated before that we're having an expensive year for our homeowners here in the town, and I'm a huge proponent for school-based health centers. I've always said that. I know our children deserve the mental health care, and I've seen in my days of being involved in politics here in town that there are some children that really desperately need the services at the school-based health centers. But this is a position that's been sitting empty. The person that's in the position can handle double the workload that he or she is currently handling, and I think that this cut is a reasonable one to make at this time. Thank you.
Seeing Representative Surf.
Yes, over the years, I've watched the portion of the school budget that has to do with nurses, social workers, psychiatrists, career counselors, counselors of all sorts, get larger and larger into the millions of dollars. And I always wondered why Human Services wasn't taking care of all these problems. So in my opinion, we're sort of putting the cart before the horse here. Instead of cutting Human Services, we should be trying to shift some of these accounts that are in the education budget where, to me, they don't really belong. The education people should educate. They shouldn't be social workers and nurses and psychiatrists and all of this. I think we really need to consider this next time and not cut social services. So I would be against the number, the lower number on the floor, and in favor of keeping the full Human Services number, and in fact trying to shift some of these education folks over to Human Services.
Seeing no other hands raised, the number on the floor is 524,973. We will do a roll call vote.
Adams?
Yes.
Bailey?
What's the number?
It's the lower number, 524,973.
It's the lower number?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Burrell? No. Wright?
Yes.
Casper?
No.
Surf? No. Chase?
Yeah.
Cop?
No.
Dean Shinbrot? Dean Shinbrot?
Oh, yes.
Is that Eben?
No.
Ritchie?
Not there.
What happened? He's in the room.
Oh, he's in the back. I'm sorry.
Fritchie. Fritchie.
You. Yes or no?
No.
Gardner?
Yes.
Gothier?
Yes.
Guinipiero?
Yes.
Gustafson?
No.
Hanscom?
100% no.
Massett?
No.
Merritt?
No.
Aubry?
No.
Powers?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
Cimarrero?
No.
Thomas?
No.
V.C. Williams?
No.
Watson?
No.
Weaver?
No.
Wells?
No.
White?
No.
And Rusk.
No. That fails.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you come in. What time did you come in?
Probably 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
That
didn't see
motion
you.
fails 9 to 20 to 0. Seeing no other hands,
29.
we will move to the second number of 589,973.
Okay. Adams? Bailey?
No.
Burrell?
Yes.
Casper?
Yes.
Surf? Chase?
No.
Cop?
Yes. The original number.
Dean Shinbrot?
No.
Ritchie?
Yes.
Gardner?
No.
Gothier? Representative Gothier?
Yes.
Gwyneth Piero?
No.
Gustafson?
Yes.
Hainline? Hanscom?
Yes.
Gustafson, you said no? I'm sorry.
I said yes.
You said yes,
Yes.
okay. Okay, gotcha. Massett?
Yes.
Merritt?
Yes.
Aubrey?
Yes.
Powers?
Yes.
Scott?
No.
Cimarero?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
V.C. Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Wells?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Whitney? Oop, not here yet.
Pacino.
Pacino? I skipped you. 20. Oh, and Rusk.
Yes. So that passes 21 to 6 to 1. Next up is account number 73.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, Representative Bright.
I have you saying, yes.
15, 20, 21.
I did Adams, Bailey, Bright. Adams,
No, we're
Bailey,
missing a vote,
Burrell. No, I'm not.
because I have,
Bright, I have you as,
I have 21 to 6
okay, I'm sorry.
to 1.
Bright, how did you vote? No. Okay, so
so-
there you go.
21 to 7 to 1.
That's the one.
That's the one.
I skipped you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I put you down as yes. Sorry.
Okay, so account 7320, Human Services Assistant Fund, on page 136. Representative Gothier.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Account 7320, Human Services Assistance Fund. The committee passed unanimously $10,000 for this item, and that's the number I move to the floor.
Is there a second?
Watson, second.
That motion was made by Representative Gothier, seconded by Representative Kopp, in the amount of $10,000. Is there any discussion or questions? I'm not even looking. Okay,
Does everybody know what this is?
Yes.
Okay.
seeing no comments or questions, we will call the vote.
You don't need
Do you want me just to do it? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. I'm sorry, I'm waiting for online. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions?
Representative Bright, was that opposed?
No.
It's in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Representative Guimpiero, were you, I'm sorry, you were the only one I was confused on. You were yes or no? Or opposed, or abstain?
Sorry, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. That passes 28 to 0 to 1 with Representative Scott abstaining. Okay. Next up is account 1063, Groton Public Library, on page 140.
Count 1063, the Groton Public Library Director Jennifer Mulet, I'm gonna butcher that. Assistant Director Michael Spellman and Municipal Video Specialist Sean Greeley joined the meeting. Director provided an overview of the Groton Public Library budget. Rep. Bailey made a motion for $1,685,970, and this motion passed unanimously. So that's the number I move to the floor, $1,685,970.
Watson, second.
Okay, The amount.
Can I speak to my motion?
Sure, let me just repeat it, 1 second. The motion was made by Representative Gauthier, seconded by Representative Watson, in the amount of $1,685,970 for the Groton Public Library. Representative Gauthier.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd really like to speak in favor of this budget. The Groton Public Library always does great work, always is very conscious about their budget. And as was explained to us, they have been taking on a lot of extra duties for the community because of COVID, because of increased remote workers using services like the printers and the internet and the copiers for their jobs, really becoming a workspace. So this is absolutely important for our community as more and more workers do remote work but need those kind of resources. So I'd really like to support this number and continue to support our library. They do fantastic work for the community, and that's all I'll say.
Any other questions or comments? Representative Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just a quick question. I was looking at these numbers and the numbers from the CIP the other night, and I'm not seeing the roof situation. What is the plan with that? And is there any opportunity maybe to apply for ARPA dollars to see to that roof?
Director of the library, Jennifer Mealy. Speaking of ARPA funds, I'm not sure as of yet where that's headed, but what I can tell you right now is yes, at some point we are going to definitely need a new roof. At this point, Public Works is working with us to add that to a CIP down the line. But what I can tell you too is we're looking at state grant opportunities for libraries to see if we could help alleviate by applying for those grants to see if we can balance that in order to purchase whether it's a new or renovated roof.
Very well, thank you. A question for the town manager. Has there, and for the director as well, what's the rough estimate of a roof replacement on the library? Just ballpark figure rough.
I don't know off the top of my head. I would need to talk to Greg Hanover.
Okay.
I could give you a slight, we did have somebody come out to take a look at, or at least Public Works came out to take a look at reviewing different phases of what could be done. Anywhere from $300 to $500 to $1 million was all estimated on different plans. If we were to go a full route, if we were to replace what they call a membrane over the whole, different sections of the library. So we got, we received different quotes on that.
Understood.
But as time wears on, pricing changes.
Right, and the problems
Of course.
compound
Yes.
exponentially. So just my limited knowledge of the roof situation there, and just the roof design overall, it was designed as a
Madam
flat roof.
Moderator,
Yes.
point of order, we're talking about the library budget and not the CIP.
Your point's taken.
All right, very well then. Well, I would encourage any and all ARPA dollars that are available to maybe look at doing a full replacement. Thank you.
Representative Massett. Representative Massett, did you have a comment?
Oh, that was it.
Okay, thank you.
My point of order.
Representative Gardner. I can't see your name tag. It does throw me every time.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Representative Gauthier referenced people working remotely and using library services. So the taxpayers are subsidizing people who have home offices?
No, not subsidizing, no. Are you talking about utilizing meeting room spaces? They do utilize meeting room spaces.
Copiers?
Copiers, printers
Do
are
they pay?
available.
They pay for all that?
They absolutely do, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Representative Bailey.
Yes, I request to remove the question.
You
To
request,
move the question?
oh, to move the
Thank you.
question. I think we're there. I think we're there already. Okay. So the number on the floor is $1,685,970. All in favor, please raise your hand. Representative Hanscom is the only one I don't have a hand up for. Okay.
She do now.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, so that moves in the amount of 28 to 1 to 0, and one who left the room. All right, so that motion passes. Next up is 1083 regional agencies. First up is 10070 Southeastern Connecticut
Is this
Council.
supposed to be borrowed IT?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
33.
sorry.
Yeah, I think we're on the borrowing.
I was like, I'll see ya.
Sorry, I was jumping ahead. 3310,
You don't
borrow
get
it,
that this year.
TM page 145. You're like, please don't make me come back again.
All right, let me find my notes. Borrow it, account 3310. The director provided an overview of the account, which is funded through a Connecticut grant in the amount of $20,000. I believe this, you could probably call this something like a pass-through where we have to appropriate it in order to kind of get the grant through. But it is paid for by a grant. It's, something we get every year. The committee passed $20,000, and that's the number I moved to the floor.
Adams? Yes. Thank you.
Just for clarification, it was 20,000, not the $20,050?
I have 20,000. and
20,000, okay, thank you.
These are the notes I think you took for me.
Thank you.
So that's what I have. I have 20,000.
All right. Representative Gauthier, and is there a second? Representative Adams. Is there any discussion? Representative Massett, you still have your hand up? Did you have a, nope?
Nope.
Okay.
Second, Dean Shinrod.
Oh, I had a second with Representative Adams. Thank you, though.
Okay.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just, I do notice that discrepancy in the numbers as well. Could we just explain that?
I'm sorry, one more time.
The
Can you?
discrepancy in the numbers between the 20,050 we see on the page here.
There's a $50 for interest income.
Right,
Can you
but the
discuss
number
that,
we're going to
please?
pass is, that's on the table is 20,000. So what's the difference? And is that just a clerical error, or should we put the 50 back on? What's the situation?
That's, as you mentioned, interest income, so it's just, it accrues as it's sitting in the fund, so,
They're just not using it this year. You go off the expenses.
It's part of the financing plan.
Okay, so that's not relevant to this? All right, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions or comments, all in favor of $20,000 for account 3310, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed?
See Dean Shinrod?
Any abstentions?
Have a hand up.
Representative Dean Shinbrot, was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that passes 30 to 0 to 0. Thank you.
thank you. Thanks, John.
All right. Next up is account 1083 regional agencies. The first up is 10070 Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments. Is anyone here from SCOG?
Town manager.
Town manager.
He
On
was not able
page
to attend with the change in date.
169. And this falls under
It's Gauthier.
Representative Gauthier.
Yes, so this account, the committee passed unanimously $15,963. That's the number I moved to the floor.
15916.
15963.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second, Representative Gardner. Let me get to the page, please.
170. Page 170 for the breakdowns.
Town manager, do you want to speak to this?
Sure. One thing to point out is they haven't increased their price to us in many years. There's 22 municipalities in their district. They're all participating members, but the big thing out of this is we get certain transportation grants through them. So without that, we would go way behind. So they way more than pay for themselves. There's certain federal grants that we can only go through them on. So they're a needed expense.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor of $15,963 for account 10070 SCOG? Please raise your hand. Everyone online. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Representative Scott, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. You're yes? Are you a yes? Okay, then that passes 30-0. Next up is account 107, sorry, because my numbers are wrong, 10071, sector.
10831. Is it? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Hold on. Oh, yes, the spreadsheet is wrong. 10831 sector. On the same page. Hold on 1 second. Thank you for catching that. Representative Gauthier.
Thank you. Account 10831, sector, the committee unanimously passed $13,444. That's the number I moved to the floor.
Watson, second.
The amount of $13,444 was made by Representative Gauthier, seconded by Representative Watson. Thank you. I can't remember. Is there anyone here from sector?
There is. No, there is R.T. Brown, who's on Zoom.
Where am I?
Do you see a hand up?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you up at the top. Mr. Brown, would you like to speak to your budget?
Sure, yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
My name is R.T. Brown. I'm an employee with Southeastern Connecticut Enterprise Region. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight, and thank you for previous year's support. Similar to the COG, we request municipal funding from 22 towns to do the work of economic development. So we're really a sister agency to the COG. This past year, we've provided loans to Groton businesses through CARES Act funding, as well as technical assistance to businesses. Through us, we have the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which helps connect businesses with government contracts, government and municipal contracts. In the town of Groton, we assisted 12 business clients, provided 50 hours of procurement technical assistance counseling, and those resulted directly in $4.4 million of contract awards to Groton businesses. We also have the Small Business Development Center, and we counseled, I think in Groton specifically, 4 small businesses with business planning, marketing, and financial analysis. So we're a regional organization. One of the areas that has received some attention in the past few months is our work with the offshore wind industry cluster development project through the Build Back Better Regional Challenge. We are one of 60 finalists out of 529, and we have requested almost $40 million on behalf of the region for funding, which represents would be an overall investment of $60 million to build and advance the sector of offshore wind in the region. We will find out about that in September. So I'm happy to take specific questions, but at a high level, we provide economic development services to really what drives the economy here in the region, which is supporting businesses, small and medium-sized businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments? Seeing none. All those in favor of $13,444 for sector. Oh, I'm sorry. The number was already called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I think he was just voting. I've got everybody in the room. Representative Whitney, Frickman.
I abstain, Frickman.
Okay.
Representative Whitney abstains.
Okay, all those opposed?
Bailey?
Bailey opposes? So I have Representative
Yes.
Gardner and Representative Bailey opposing. Representative Massett, I had you as a yes. Is that correct? Representative Massett.
Yes, I am a yes.
Okay, if you could take down your hand then. And those abstaining, I had Representative Whitney and Representative Frickman. Anyone, and VC Williams. So we currently have
31.
So that passes in the amount of 26 to 2 to 3. You guys are making me do math. All right. Next up is account 10832, seat. On page 169. Representative Gauthier, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Count 10832. The committee unanimously passed $95,456. And that's the number I put to the floor.
Is there a second?
Second.
That number was put forth by Representative Gauthier, seconded by Representative Aubry. Do we have anyone here from seats?
We do. Mike Carroll, the Director of Seats on.
Mr. Carroll, do you want to speak to this number?
Real quickly, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to present. This is basically a status quo budget to maintain public transit services in the town of Groton that consists of both fixed route and ADA paratransit service. SEAT is a regional transportation agency, 9-member towns. Groton has 2 members serving on the board of directors, and we also leverage extensive federal and state funding, both for operating assistance and capital assistance. The number we're asking for from our member towns represents about 10% of our total operating budget. And historically, there has been no capital contribution required of any member towns, as capital funding for buses, buildings, et cetera, is funded by federal and state dollars. And I'd be glad to try to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Representative Chase.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Last year during budget deliberations, a question was posed to if the seat bus can go through the Mystic. And you said you would look at that throughout the year. Can you, I know they've talked about it at the town council, but can you fill us in on that, please?
We've done some very exploratory things in the form of what the new buzzword is microtransit, which is basically a on-demand service looking at the eastern portion of Groton to include Mystic and Noank, that area. Depending on the hours of service, et cetera, we think we could probably provide that service with 1 vehicle. probably 5 or 6 days a week, but that would be another, probably an operating cost about $200,000 annually. So we would have to see if we can get the traditional state match, which would be about 70%, and then the town would be required to contribute about 30% of that cost, or a combination of town funds and fares. Fares probably would be not very high on something like that. But if there's a desire to move forward with that, we can certainly enter into those discussions and see what we can do.
Thank you.
Can I just add on to that?
Yes.
Just to add on, we are looking at some things to pitch to seats, so we are looking at that currently.
Representative Wells.
It was before my time, but I understand in days of yore there was bus service from Mystic to Westerly. So I'm wondering if you've ever looked into cooperating with the Rhode Island's RIPTA bus service to you know, scoot over the border and pick up some people or drop them off.
We don't have any direct connections right now. We go as far as Pawcatuck to the state line with our service. We can certainly, again, enter into a discussion with our colleagues over in RIPTA. One of the concerns, frankly, we have is becoming an intrastate carrier. That brings a host of additional regulatory requirements, and that's something we would have to carefully consider and explore and see what the impact would be to extend over into Rhode Island proper.
I was just thinking, because Norwich, New London, and Westerly are really one region, and it's a shame to make it Norwich, New London, Pawcatuck. Doesn't have quite the same role.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Representative Thomas.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just a quick follow-up for the town manager. The talking with Seat about the Mystic parking situation. Is that it's
well,
all
a route
that,
system, right? The route, a potential route over to Mystic.
right? A route into Mystic. Is that part of the parking study and the overall part of the parking solution?
It's one of the things, yeah, that was recommended to look at. So I'm working with the Mystic Chamber to just get their input on hours that might be needed and different things like that. So
Right.
we are looking at it.
And sort of estimated turnaround time and when we might get that information?
I can't say off the top of my head, but hopefully soon.
All right. Thank you.
Seeing, Representative Merritt? His hand isn't up. That's the cursor.
It's just the little cursor.
That's the cursor. Representative Gardner? It's
My question would be, you go all the way as far east as Pawcatuck. Why wouldn't you pass through Mystic on the way to Pawcatuck?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question again, please?
Okay, you go as far east as Pawcatuck. Why wouldn't you pass through Mystic on the way to Pawcatuck?
We currently have service in Stonington, extending between the Stonington portion of Mystic and all the way over to Pawcatuck. We reconfigured that service 2 years ago to be a demand response service. We call it the HOP. We also have a fixed route line, basically utilizing Interstate 95 from New London, stopping off at Old Mystic Village, and then continuing on to Foxwoods Resort Casino. It also has a stop at the Stonington Park and Ride on the border between Stonington and North Stonington. So we have local service, as I said, in the HOP service, demand response, Monday through Friday, and that pretty much covers the entire town of Stonington. We do not cross the drawbridge there in Mystic to come over on the Groton side, but as I said earlier, if there's a desire to look at some similar type of service in the Groton part of Mystic, we would be glad to see what we can do and if we can leverage from some state funds.
Okay, so if you're in downtown Groton, can you get to Pawcatuck on the buses?
Point of order, could we please stick to talking about the number?
numbers.
Okay,
We've already been told it costs about $200,000 to implement this service.
that's not the question I was asking, but that's fine.
Real quickly, you can get from Groton to Mystic via the Route 108 bus, which does have some service in the Mystic, the Groton portion of the town on Long Hill Road in that area.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, the number on the floor is $95,456. All in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that passes 32 to 0. Next is account 10833, Southeastern Connecticut Probate Court. Representative Gauthier?
Thank you. Account 10833, the committee unanimously passed $13,433. That's the number I moved to the floor. I will say this is a number that we are obligated to pay. There's really no changing it. So that's that.
Second. It was a motion made by Representative Gauthier, seconded by Representative Kopp. Judge Lehman is here. Do we have any questions for the judge? Representative Cerf.
This is just an information question. A few years ago, the probate court had made some wonderful videos that were educational in terms of trusts and wills and all these things. My question is whether they're still available, and I just wanted to point that out to the public. They're really excellent. Are they still available?
Judge, are they still available?
So my understanding is that Judge Keppel did a great series called Demystifying the Probate Process, and he went to the various libraries in our district, which is Ledyard, North Stonington, Stonington, and Groton, and that those videos are available at the various local libraries. So we have those as a great resource. And the probate court has also wonderful resources on the probate court website. And I would have to say that probably our best resources are our clerks in the probate court. They're extremely knowledgeable. We have 5 of them. They're there to help the public get through the probate process. And I'm really hoping that when we get through COVID, we can do some more programs in person, because that's really the best way to reach out to people. So yes, the long story short is I do believe those are on video and available at the Groton Town Library.
Yeah, maybe we can ask Sean to upload them to YouTube.
Representative
where
Cerf, I'm
everything
going to
else
ask
is.
you to stick to the numbers.
Huh?
Stick to the number. Okay. Any other questions or comments? The number on the floor is $13,433. All in favor, please raise your hand. Representative Massett, I don't have. Okay. Anyone opposed? Representative Cerf, you're in opposition? Okay. Anyone opposed to this number? Representative Massett, I had your hand as a yes. Okay. Anyone abstaining? All right. That number passes 32 to 0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Next up is account 1084, Health and Service Agencies. It is on page 174. We have completed we've done Groton Ambulance. Yep. Service agencies, marine, sewer disposal, Mystic River Ambulance.
Yep.
We did all of those. Yep, I know. We still have more to do. Next up is Ledgelight Health District, which I don't think I have the correct number.
10840 is the account number.
Thank you. I have an extra 0. And that is on page 172. Representative Gauthier?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Account 10840, Ledgelight Health District. The committee unanimously passed a number of $291,798. And that's the number I put to the floor.
That was-
Bud Light, we all know the good work that they've done for our community. And Mr. Burke, please correct me if I'm wrong, this is a number we're obligated to pay?
That is correct. We're legally required to pay what the set number is.
So this is a motion made by Representative Gauthier, seconded by Representative Powers. Any discussion? Representative Scott.
Just a quick question for the town manager. This is a number obviously we're obligated to pay. It's a per person charge, if I understand correctly.
I believe so, yes.
When was the last time we put this out to bid? Because there's other health districts in the region that we could perhaps participate with. Has this ever been shopped?
Not that I've heard of. We're pretty happy with it. I'm not even sure you can shop this for sure. I'd have to look into it.
I think there is a way to shop it.
I could look into it.
Okay. I'd like to talk about that at a future meeting. Thank you.
Representative Watson.
Yeah, there's a process that you have to go through to get out of the health district, which starts with a letter of letting them know you would like to think about getting out of the health district, which has to be submitted before the end of the year. It's not something that you just say, next year we're going to do this. There's a specific process that you have to go through if you're going to withdraw from one health district.
Representative Massett.
I was just, unmuted. Oh, I was just going to reiterate what Representative Watson said. And I also think that the districts are legislatively designed, so it's not like there are 2 or 3 districts like in the same area.
They're definitely regional, I know. Representative
Yes.
Bailey. Representative Bailey?
Yes, request to move the question.
We're getting there. I don't think we have anybody else who wants to speak. Okay. Seeing none, we are moving the number that we are voting on is $291,798 for Ledge Light Health District. All in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please. Representative Gardner, Representative Scott, Representative Gauthier.
Nope, I was a yes.
Oh,
I just
sorry.
wasn't quick enough moving. I was a yes. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Dean Shinbrot, are you opposed?
I'm a yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just late to the party.
Is there anyone abstaining? Representative Thomas. So that passes in the amount of 29 to 2 to 1. Thank you. Next up is VNA School, account 10841. Representative Gardner, or Gauthier, sorry. The other G.
Thank you. Account 10841 VNA, this is the school health account.
Yes.
We had 2 representatives from VNA School Health available to speak with us. Denise Doolittle and Gail Heshy. I didn't notice their names on the list, but they might be here. Not that I'm seeing. So we had 2 representatives from VNA come speak with us. The committee unanimously passed a number of $1,229,144. 1229144, and that's the number I put to the floor.
Is there a second?
Watson, second.
Thank you, Representative Watson. Motion made by Representative Gauthier, motion seconded by Representative Watson. Could you please introduce yourself? Representative Gauthier, one moment. Could you please introduce yourself?
Could I?
Yes, you can.
I'm
Just
sorry.
give me 1 second.
Yes, I can. First of all, I am a stutterer, so please hold on and wait for me. Don't let it bother you. It doesn't bother me. my name is Karen DeSantis, and I'm the new director at the BNA Southeast. So I was on that last call, but Gail Heishi was still in charge, so Gail spoke.
Thank you. Representative Gauthier?
Yes, I would just like to say that part of our discussions on the committee, we obviously asked about the price and, last time we bid and all of those other questions. And I feel this is the best price that can be put forward to help our schools and our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Scott?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just a question to kind of revisit the conversation we had earlier in the evening with respect to counselors for our children. What is the workload that your counselors are, basically, how many children are each of your counselors treating at this time?
We employ only RNs and school health aides.
So you're not doing any mental health care as part of this program?
No.
All right, never mind. Thank you.
Representative Chase?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. For the RNs, do you bill insurance for services?
No.
Do you know why you don't do that?
No, I don't, but I don't know that that's done through school health. The kids are in and out of the office all day long. Some kids are more involved with their diabetes and things like that, but nurses, as a rule, cannot bill for fee for service. So we'd have to bill under a doctor. So that's not, as far as I know, that can't be done.
All right, thank you.
Representative Weaver?
I just have a question. Normally, there's backup for detail for any increases, and in the other line items we just recently bid on, there hasn't been any substantial increase, but there's a $200,000 increase from 2022 to 2023. Can you explain that justification, please?
Certainly. COVID, of course, definitely wreaked havoc on healthcare. We are having a very, very hard time employing RNs and health aides, and we are held to a union contract as well. We had to give our nurses raises this past year, which were significant, and we had to do that in order to be able to hire in more people and to keep the ones we had, because everywhere you look, someone is willing to pay them more. So we had to stay competitive and also by our contract.
So has your staff maintained, decreased, or increased? Because there's also not a staffing list here, if you can explain that. Thank you.
Right now, our staff has decreased. We are looking, the school nurse program is fully staffed. But we certainly haven't cut hours down. Our job, though, is to continue to be an employer of choice and be pulling more people in, more subs, things like that, to make the whole staffing process easier.
Thank you. Representative Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So, also, has the usage and the frequency of use gone up over the past couple of years?
Certainly. Yeah, and what we are finding is the kids coming in to the schools are coming in sicker. Certainly, diabetics, tube feeds, catheters, things that in years past we would not have seen in schools, we are seeing now.
So there's been an increase in the medical fragile population?
Yep. Yes.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions or comments, the number is 1,229,144. All in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? I have Representative Chase, Representative Gardner, Representative Dean Shinbrod. I thought you were in favor. Are you opposed? You're in favor. Okay.
It's a yes.
Thank you. Anyone abstaining? So that passes 31 to 2 to 0. Thank you. Next up is VNA, Health Promotion. Representative Gauthier?
You're going to start hurting my feelings, Madam Moderator.
I keep saying Gardner. I'm like stuttering. I'm sorry.
It's contagious, don't worry about
That was
it.
so bad.
I rub off on people all the time, it happens.
And your name is in front of me. I can blame it on Representative Gardner for not having his name in a place I can see.
It's not his fault.
No, it's not. It's totally me. I blank on names. So Representative Gauthier.
Account 10842 VNA, the health promo. We had folks come to us to speak about this as well. The committee unanimously passed $42,984, and that's the number I put to the floor.
942?
942?
No.
984?
Sorry.
Is that correct? 42984?
42984.
Thank you. Is there a second? Representative Cerf, thank you. Do you want to speak to this? Representative Gauthier?
No, thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Representative Gardner? I'll get the right G's.
Are you sure, Madam Moderator?
No, I'm not.
So my question, this has nothing to do with the schools, correct? This is
Yes,
just for
right. This is-
adult population?
Yes, mhm.
General population?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just could you give us just a very brief synopsis of what it is this looks like?
Sure.
Where do we see this in the
Sure.
community?
We see this at the Groton HEPA. We see this at the local community centers and here. Our nurses come in and do blood pressure clinics. And while they are doing the blood pressure clinics, they do teaching on diet and exercise and things that they can do to make their lives better. There are a couple of sites. We do this, I believe, at five sites per week for several hours a day.
Thank you.
Representative Chase?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Can you explain why this budget has increased 29% from the current year?
I cannot. I will find out for you for sure. It probably has something to do with the salary increases, but I will find out for you.
Right, the salary or the rate that you charge the town has increased $4.50. I don't know if that's per hour. The budget really isn't very self-explanatory, and blood pressure clinics have increased. Everything's increased, but I don't know what that number represents.
Okay, I can get back to you. This was put forward before I started, so I will get back to you on that.
All right, thank you.
Representative Cerf?
Yes, where does this take place?
Yes, the Groton HEPA, the building. It takes place here twice a week. I think there's, I think in total 8 or 9 hours a week. And it also, let me see, I've got my list. It is also at the Groton City Municipal Center as well. Mhm.
Any other questions? Oh. You should have all received a handout. It was in the back. Visiting Nurses Association of Southeastern Connecticut audit for Town of Groton CT. Oh, the VNA sent this out?
Yeah,
Okay.
I sent this out.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Town manager?
I have a little bit of information on your
Oh,
budget.
great. Thank you.
I do have a little bit of information on their budget in my records. Besides there was a 4% salary increase and 2% benefit increase, but in addition, they had cut their number of hours back over the last 2 years because of COVID. They're upping them. They went from 361 hours with blood pressure clinics to 413, and then they upped the foot care clinics from 112 hours to 127 hours. So these are back to their normal levels, so it was decreased for a couple of years.
In light of the information that you have in front of you, are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of $42,984, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? I'm sorry, Representative Dean Chinbrock was cracking me up. Anyone abstaining? All right, that passes 33 to 0 to 0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being here and the information. We are going to take a 5-minute break, and then we will come back. 1089 Mystic No Ink Library. Representative Cerf. We're going to get started again. Representative Gauthier. Oh, I should probably have made sure she was back. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Account 10849, the Mystic No Ink Library. The committee unanimously passed $150,000. That's the number I put to the floor.
Seconded by Representative Gustafson. Do you want to introduce yourself?
You can move it closer.
I'm a new resident of Groton. I'm the director of Mystic and No Ink Library, which is a very old library since 1893. Mystic and No Ink Library also serves Stonington residents of Mystic, as you know, but we're located in Groton, and 60% of our 6,000 cardholders live in Groton. Our financial support from the town of Groton has been declining since 2008, when it was over $200,000. That's why we've asked for a needed increase in 2023. COVID took its toll on libraries, as you've heard about from so many other agencies. We found that we had to deliver library service in new ways. Book clubs went on Zoom, and some of them are still there. People needed books in new formats. During COVID, people learned how to download ebooks and audiobooks from our website, and that demand continues to grow while the need for print books remains the same. The people of Mystic are readers. Last year, they checked out over 30,000 print books and downloaded over 10,000 ebooks. Residents used the Wi-Fi over 25,000 times in 2021 and 12,000 times in just the first quarter of 2022. People use libraries for services they cannot provide as individuals. As Jennifer mentioned about Groton Public Library, the same is true in Mystic No Ink. Copiers, scanners, printers, and fax machines are in high demand, both from people who are working from home and people who are self-employed. We're fortunate in Groton to have 3 fine libraries, each of which serves its own neighborhood, but all of which can be and are used by all Groton residents. The Mystic and No Ink Library budget for 2023 is $940,000. We're asking the town of Groton for $150,000, which is about 15% of the total budget. As one of our patrons so eloquently put it, libraries are much more than a collection of books. They're places of information and ideas, offering a safe, welcoming, and inclusive environment, both physical and virtual, that connects individuals to each other and to their larger communities. Libraries educate, innovate, and are important defenders in the fight against misinformation. It's no exaggeration to state that healthy libraries are critical to the maintenance of a properly functioning democracy. I ask you to support the Mystic and No Ink Library in the town of Groton's 2023 budget. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Question for you. You said 60-40 split on usage with Stonington and
On card
Groton
holders.
residents?
That card holders are the only thing we can really track.
Correct. What is the funding from
From Stonington. This year, in the current fiscal year, we got $115,000 from Groton. We got $111,000 from Stonington. We also got capital improvement project, CIP, from Stonington of $5,000, and we got $10,000 in ARPA funding from Stonington, and that's done. You know, their whole process is done. So actually, this year, in the current fiscal year, we got more money from Stonington than we did from Groton.
Okay, my other question would be, do you have an endowment?
We do, and that's, so I said we're asking for 15% from the town of Groton. We would ideally get 15% from the town of Stonington, and so that's 30. And then the other 2/3, 1/3 comes from interest from the endowment, and 1/3 comes from annual fundraising. So that's how we fund it.
Madam Moderator, I'd like to move another number, please.
Okay.
$35,000. $35,000. Same as the Bill Library.
Is there a second for that number? Second, Chase. The number is $35,000. It was moved by Representative Gardner, seconded by Representative Chase. Representative Massett.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just a couple of questions for you. I noticed that your budget or your request has increased by $35,000. Could you give me the rationale for that increase?
Certainly. As I said, it was 115 this year, and again, due to COVID, we've had increased expenses for materials, downloadable materials we have to provide. And we've had increased costs of our building. You know, we have that lovely 1893 building in Mystic, but we have to provide all of the maintenance and repairs on the building and the grounds and all the utilities. We get no assistance other than that annual budget. And so it's been, our costs really went up the last couple of years because of that. We couldn't have any annual fundraisers, you know, when the big fundraisers that nonprofits have that bring in a lot of money. During COVID, you couldn't do that. And so we're really hurting. The other, I don't mean to say we're really hurting, but we really have been faced with less revenue because of COVID primarily. And the other thing is that because we serve so many residents of Groton, there's no reason for the support in Groton to have gone down so much since 2008 at 200,000 down to 115. It seems more appropriate that Groton would provide the 15% of funding, which would be 150. So it's a combination of our increased costs and also looking to what is a steadfast funding from Groton.
Representative.
Thank you. And Madam Moderator,
Yes,
if I may,
Yes.
One last question. Your board of directors, is your board of directors representative of every part of the town of Groton? Because you're asking for tax dollars from everybody in Groton. So is your board
Right.
representative
Right.
of all of us?
Yeah. Good question. I brought a lot of papers, but I didn't bring the board list with their addresses, which I can certainly provide to you. Currently we have 10 members on our board, and the addresses will show where they live. But I believe they come from all parts of Groton, but the list will show you exactly where everyone lives. So I can provide that.
I would really be interested in seeing that list.
Sure, I
I
will.
will call you.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say I tried to pull it up online quickly and did not find it.
Oh.
Representative Whitney.
Yeah, so just like clarification, for the original motion, could you state that number and then this first amended motion number, but also the high and low from the town council and the manager's budget? Thank you.
Absolutely. So the original number on the floor is $150,000. The amended number is $35,000. The committee made the $150,000, and then the number from the town manager was $150,000, and the town council approved $150,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Representative Thomas had his hand up next, and then Representative Merritt.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So just a quick clarification, I guess, sequence of events. Historically, you said the library is budgeted at $200,000 in recent history?
Yeah, I have a chart that shows the exact numbers.
Okay. When was the last time it was funded at the $200,000 figure, and how long was it funded at that figure up until it wasn't?
Okay. 2008 it was 200,000 plus. 2009 206. Then started to go down. 2010 188. Then 2011 150. 2012 172. 2013 170. 2014 178. 2015 188. 2016 187. 2017 183. 2018 122. 2019 100,000. 2020 115. 2021 115, and 2022 115.
Thank you for that. So overall, like the 150,000 figure is actually kind of more towards the average that historically has been paid in the past.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also in the most recent years, you've had an increase in usage, but a decrease in opportunities to fundraise on your own.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm in favor of the original figure, 150,000, and I would encourage everyone to consider that. Thank you.
Representative Merritt.
I'd like to hear the rationale for the second number, please. I don't believe we've heard that.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. My rationale would be that we have, on a town this size, we have 3 libraries, and they want us to fund all 3 libraries. They have an endowment. The Bill Library also has an endowment. The bill is only requesting $35,000. Why is the Mystic Noank Library requesting basically 4 times as much as the Bill Library? That's my rationale. We have 3 libraries in a town this size, and we're expected to fund all 3 of them. I have a problem with that.
Representative Merritt, did you have anything follow-up?
No, I just wanted to hear the rationale for the decrease in numbers.
Thank you. Representative Serf had her hands up next.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. It's amazing how when this account gets to the R.T.M, it's always a fight. Now, we do have 3 libraries, but we also have a very large town. And the libraries, very often people during storms or, various acts of God or whatever, people really need these libraries. And I know the Mystic Noank Library is very much used by people who are scattered all over. If you think about that part where the library is, that whole part of Groton is quite scattered. There's a lot of development there, and there's a lot of people there. And for them to go, all the way to the Groton Public Library to do whatever they have to do during a storm is much more inconvenient than going to the local libraries. Now, I happen to know, I think the Bill Library has a much larger endowment than you have. And
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know
think
what
I recall
theirs
that they
is.
do, and therefore that's the reason why they were able to, get by, because I think having had Pfizer and Electric Boat and all of that in the city, they probably got a lot more money in their endowment.
Let's stick with one budget at a time.
Budget?
One budget at a time.
One budget at a time. Well, it seems to me in order to keep the Mystic Noank Library going, because they don't have such a large endowment, and because they really serve a lot of people, and their old building, this number of 150,000 really is not that big. And I'm very much in favor of that number. I'm not in favor of cutting them. and going on about it as we have over the years.
Thank you. Representative Chase had her hand up next.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. You're a private nonprofit. Do you access, search for, receive grants?
Yeah, that's part of our fundraising is searching for grants to fund certain programs. Correct.
Okay, so if you didn't get the 150, you would just search out more grants, correct? Because nonprofits can get grants, whereas for-profits cannot.
Well, yeah, nonprofits can get grants,
Right.
but you know what? Grants are for a specific restricted reason
I
and
understand that.
at the pleasure of the grantor. So we look for grants to support our programs and always get some funding from grants. But it's it's an annual ask, and it's restricted to certain things.
Right, I understand that. You have a 30% increase in your request from the current year. Is that your rationale to get back up to the 200,000? Is that why the 30%?
To start gradually working back up.
All right, thank you.
Representative Wells.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Cities and towns are often defined by their institutions and monuments. We don't have a Statue of Liberty, we don't have an Eiffel Tower, but we do have the Mystic Noank Library. And even if you never went inside, it makes the town look good. And it's not cheap to maintain that antique.
It's not.
But it's really stunning. If you watch public television, you'll see little snippets of towns, and they show a picture of their town hall or the green. And I haven't seen Mystic Noank Library there, but it should be there.
Right.
Anyways, and Stonington, by the way, supports 3 libraries.
They do.
Of which the one in Stonington is the tiniest, smallest library that they have. They support Westerly and the Mystic Noank. Thank you.
I often think with Groton, many of the towns in Connecticut have branch libraries. And I think that's the way it is with Groton. They have a fine main library, and they have 2 other libraries that serve distinct parts of town. And I think it's much more economical for Groton to fund the main library and then to offer some help to the 2 nonprofit libraries, the Bill and the Mystic Noank. And I think it's a very economical way to serve the population with library service.
Representative Semeraro.
Can you hear me?
Hold it really close. It's on. Just hold it really close to your mouth.
One of the main reasons why a lot of us live in Groton is because of the excellent amenities that are available here, such as the Mystic and Noank Library. We know the library workers. We know what a great job they do. We get really good value for our money. And I will be voting for the $150,000 figure. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just a couple of counterpoints. One, to build off of, or just to echo what Representative Cerf said, 3 libraries in this town make complete sense to me, because if you look at the geographic size of the town, I mean, population-wise, that could be debatable mathematically, but geographically, 3 libraries make sense because we have population centers, on the west side, the center side, and the east side, with large gaps in between where there's not a lot of population. So it makes a lot of sense to have 3 libraries. And yes, there's historical other supports that other libraries may enjoy that, a Mystic Noank does not have necessarily the same wherewithal. And as far as not being a huge fan of seeking grants for ongoing programs, I am reminded of something Representative Gauthier said at the last meeting as far as not using short-term funding for long-term programs. I'm paraphrasing terribly probably, but long story short, again, in support of this number, and I just wanted to kind of provide a counterpoint to the narrative of 3 libraries in one town. I do believe it is logical and geographically sensible and justified. Thank you.
Representative Chase.
Thank you. Just to follow up with that, I provide grants to agencies in my day job, and we've been funding them for 30 years, some of them, so they can be for long term.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other hands. Oh, Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Can I ask what your endowment is?
What the we annually get about $300,000 from the endowment.
Yeah, but how much is the?
How much is it?
The principal.
Well, yeah, the principal, it's going down, but it's about $7 million.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't mean it's just going down just because of the stock market, you know, as is everyone's endowment, right?
Seeing no other hands, the number that we are voting on is $35,000. That is the lower number of the two. We will do a roll call, please.
Adams? No. Bailey?
Yes, yes.
Burrell?
No.
Bright? No. Casper?
No.
Surf? No. Chase? Yes. Cop? Dean Shinbrot? Dean Shinbrot?
She's not on mute.
No.
Representative Dean Shinbrot.
Oh, so, no.
Thank you. Frickman? Representative Frickman?
No. No.
Thank you. Fritchie? No. Gardner?
Yes.
Gothier?
No.
Guinipiero?
No.
Gustafson?
No.
Hanscom?
No.
Jacome?
No.
Massett?
Yes.
Merritt?
No.
Aubrey?
No.
Powers S? Oops.
No. Kristen's here.
Yeah, I have Kristen S. I mean,
No.
Kristen Powers?
No.
Okay. Pacino?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
Cimarero?
No.
Thomas?
No.
B.C. Williams? No. Watson?
No.
Weaver? No. Wells?
No.
White? No. Whitney?
No.
Rusk?
No. That motion fails 5-28. The next motion we have is $150,000. A roll call.
Adams? Yes. Bailey?
No. No.
Burrell?
Yes.
Bright?
Yes.
Casper?
Yes.
Surf? Yes. Chase?
Thank you so much for taking
Cobb?
I really appreciate you. Take care.
Dean Shinbrot?
Abstain.
So much together to get to this point.
Somebody's yapping in the background. Frickman?
Yes.
Fritchie?
Yes.
Gardner?
No.
Gothier?
Yes.
Guinipiero?
Abstain.
Gustafson?
Yes.
Hanscom?
Yes, and if people could turn off their televisions, that would be great.
Yep.
Thanks.
Jacome?
Yes.
Massett? Representative Massett?
Representative Massett? I'll come back.
Merritt?
Yes.
K. Powers?
Yes.
S. Powers?
Yes.
Pacino?
Yes.
Scott?
No.
Cimarero?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
B.C. Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Wells?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Whitney?
Yes.
Rusk?
Yes.
And I'm going to go back.
Massett is a no.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think you called over.
I don't think I did. Let's see. Let's So 4.
It's usually Pacino who gets skipped.
Aubrey, yeah, I didn't call you. What do you vote?
I vote yes.
There you go. All right, 28.
All right. You have
Yeses.
20,
And, oh, sorry.
26 to 5 to
Wait a
2.
minute, sorry about that. 26 to 5. We got a no, yep, to 2.
Okay, that motion passes 26 to 5 to 2. Thank you very much. Next up is the Bill Memorial Library, account 10849A. Is that correct? Yes.
Yep. 32, there's 33. Something's not right.
Count 10849A, the Bill Memorial Library. The committee unanimously passed $35,000, and that's what I put to the floor.
Watson, second.
I'll take Watson.
Yep, up.
Sorry, Representative
Got it.
Gothier made the motion for $35,000, seconded by Representative Watson. Representative Massett, do you wish to say something before we get started?
I would just like to disclose that I am a member of the Board of Trustees
I am also a member
of this library. I gain nothing, but it should be out there as a part of the record.
I'm
Thank you.
also a member of the Board of Trustees for the Bill Memorial Library. I also gain nothing from this, but, so you're all aware. Yes, Representative Pacino. I've read a book. Thank you. Awesome. Just one. All right. Wendy, would you like to introduce both you and?
Sure. My name is Wendy Connell. I'm the director of Bill Memorial Library, and with me is Rob Zuliani, the treasurer.
I'd also like to point out that our president, Janet Downs, is in the background, and we have another trustee, Bernadette
Kunkemuller.
Yeah. 4 people are on our board. Randy will be brief, and I will try to be shorter. Randy will actually give you the overview of the library, and I'll tell you about the money and the funding.
So our library was built in 1890, so we're even older than Mystic and Noank.
Could you get the microphone?
But just saying, right. Oh, okay. Sorry. So we offer robust programming for children, creating opportunities for learning, supporting literacy and education, and shaping the new ideas and perspectives that are central to a creative and innovative society. Our children's program attendance not only has returned to pre-pandemic levels, but also has exceeded them by using our outdoor space. Last week, we had 68 attendees at our story time, and we're exploring ways to enhance our outdoor classroom space to build on this success. Last month, unfortunately, we had to remove many shade trees, so we are looking at ways to replace that shade. We've also invested in audiovisual equipment to enhance our in-person and virtual programming. We're hard at work planning enriching summer programs for children's, teens, and adults. And I invite you all to visit us and see what we've been working on. And now I'll hand it over to Rob.
Thank you. I handed out just before we sat down a little cartoon pertaining to libraries, and I think if you check it out, you'll find it's pertinent to today's world, and you'll also find it entertaining. But this is a real world situation. As per our budget request in the books, you're going to see that we have a budget of about $271,840. It's the smallest of the 3 libraries' budgets because we're smaller than the other 2. By no means, in size, we don't compare physically, and we also don't have the numbers they have, but they also can handle a lot more because of the size of their buildings. 82% of that budget really represents library services. It's the actual catering to service needs of the customers and our people who show up. The other part is pretty much 18% buildings and grounds. We've got insurance, the audit fees, and all other expenses that pertain to non-library issues. maintenance, for example. The library portfolio draw that we use to fund our budget represents 100% of our income produced every year, and whatever market value that we can gain, that we can pick up during the course of the year. We can't take any more than that. We can't touch principal. We're restricted on what we can withdraw from that portfolio. I'm trying to make sure I give you this thing in order. Our drawdown for the last 3 years has been the same. It has not increased. We've taken out $205,272 for the last 3 years. We've never increased it. Our town grant represents 11% of our budget. And the remaining 13% of our budget is really fundraising, programs where we can generate money. Our biggest problem this year has been inflation, just like everyone else, the other libraries, people in general business. It's hurting. It's impacting our operations. For example, part of this is not inflation, but part of it's the state of Connecticut when they increased their minimum wage. That impacted 7 of our people by 8.7% increase this year for salaries. Programming. What happened with programming is very interesting. During COVID, programming completely dropped out from all libraries across the state of Connecticut. Wendy recently, about a month ago, pulled up a survey, a study that was done by the National
The Connecticut State Library.
Association. And
No, the Connecticut State Library, who takes all the statistics from the libraries in the state and makes those statistics
they do all
available.
they do all the comparison. What we found out was, for small libraries throughout Connecticut, for medium-sized libraries throughout Connecticut, the Bill Memorial programming, for our programming at the Bill, exceeds the return above all others in the state of Connecticut. Our programming has increased, but our inflation also has increased with those programs. Cost of those programs, because the volume's gone up, is hurting even more. The typical insurance, that's going up. Cost of computers, that's going up. Inflation's really putting a hurt on our budget. Every year we come to you because we talk about our building. Wendy indicated it's 132 years old, and then you know what that does. Things pop up every year that you can't account for, and usually they're not in your budget. And we have the same thing this year. We had to replace a chimney liner and stone cap for $2,000. We repaired our Pepit wall on the roof for $6,000. We even did an oil tank for $6,000. We discovered something this year that really hurt. We got an old building, but we also have old trees. We found out several large limbs came down in our programming area outside. The danger to anyone near those trees, several of them were pretty good size. We had a qualified arborist come in. He checked all our trees out, and he condemned pretty much all of them. We have to take them down. We took them down already, but we haven't funded it. We haven't figured out how we're going to pay for the thing. At a cost of $12,000, I'm sorry. That includes stump removal. If there's anyone here who has any stump removal skills, we'd appreciate your assistance if possible. We could use your help. We also continue to do fundraising. We're aggressively working towards increasing that. We're doing our best there. And we are also continually looking for grants whenever possible. We've had to stay away from 50-50 grants because it was eating into our savings. It was requiring more library funds than necessary, so now we go after 100% grants where things don't cost the library anything. The bottom line is we do need your support. We do count on it every year. We appreciate your support.
All I can say is, we need you again this year. We would gladly take any questions you may have at this point.
Representative Chase.
I want to commend you on not using COVID as an excuse for anything that's happening. I commend you also on your fundraising and living within your means, and instead of going the easy route and going to the taxpayers for extra dollars. I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I'm sorry, Representative Weaver.
I just had a question for our town manager relative to the last comment, the $12,000 for the trees. Is that something that ARPA could be used for to help the library?
At 12, well, it wouldn't, CIPs are 25, but that's a little bit different. I'd want to check with our coordinator. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I'd really have to give that some thought. Potentially, though it's now after the fact, so that might get a little harder too.
Okay, well, I was just wondering because we do have the ARPA funds and you're always asking for suggestions and seeing as how to make it a safer building for the people who are going in and out of it, and they had to do it because it was an emergent need. It would be great if we could help them out somehow. Thank you, and I support the funding. Thank you.
I just wanted to say we are applying for ARPA funding through the town.
No one. We have 22 people in the room. We're going to start counting off here soon. Okay.
Did someone leave?
We have the amount of $35,000 for the Bill Memorial Library. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, is there anyone opposed? Anyone Representative Fritchie, are you a no?
How about Mike Whitney?
Representative Fritchie, I'm sorry, were you a yes or a no? Yes. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Did we get Representative Whitney?
No.
Representative Whitney, I'm sorry, we didn't have your vote.
I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. So that passes 32-0. Thank you.
The Bill Library Board and our director, thank you very much.
Next up is account 1073, contributions to other funds on page 163. We'll do it right after this one. Right?
Yeah, we're just picking.
Let me check this. Changes.
Account 1073.
Can we hold just 1 second? I'm sorry. Director Landry, there was discussion about a motion to be made. Does that motion need to be made before this account? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, sorry.
Account 1073. Contributions to other funds is found on page 163. The motion was made by Representative Chase. It was seconded by Representative Jacome. $1,685,530. The discussion revolved on Director Landry explaining page 163 as funding for specific cost centers is moving one number due to the number of TIF, which was a $406 number. The committee decided to move the whole number. We subtracted out the 406 to come up with the $1,685,530. These funds are used to supplement other shortfalls from other budgets as needed.
Representative Powers, can you talk a little bit louder into the microphone? People are having a hard time hearing. I just asked
Sorry
you.
about that. Is
Yep.
that better?
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry about that. These are funds used to supplement other shortfalls from other budgets as needed. The fleet fund, we talked about, the reduction was discussed, as well as the senior center activities. The senior center was a very self-sustaining until COVID-19, and then there was no income. We have to refund it to restart the programs and to rebuild back prior to the pandemic. This gives seniors the ability to recover from 2021 and rebuild back. The accounting housekeeping for this fund was easier to be tracked by coming from account 1073. We discussed Parks and Rec and how that works with account 3240. This funding had to be placed to pay for the instructors, the advertising, and all the associated activity costs. Chairman Powers called for a vote. 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstained. The motion passed. So moved. $1,685,530.
Motion was made by Representative Sean Powers, seconded by Representative Jacome. Just for clarification, the number that was moved or was made by the town manager was $1,685,936. The town council approved $1,685,530, which is the same number that was approved by the committee. Questions, comments? Representative Thomas.
I don't know, I might have missed it. What was the what's the difference?
There was a small error in the number under TIF. It should have been 0, but it was listed at 406.
Okay, got
So it
it.
was just a correction.
Thank
It's
you.
line 10734.
Got it. All right, so that number should not have been in there?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Representative Cerf.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I guess this is a question for the town manager. How come there's such a big fluctuation in these accounts from year to year? It starts, in particular, I think in 2022, you know, the senior programs went from 30,000 to 260,000, and then back down to 85, and then back up to 244. So what's going on with all of that?
That was discussed during the Parks and Rec budgets in terms of where they were losing money during COVID, and this is replenishing that fund because they're in the red. We had a discussion during those budget meetings. This is basically just moving the money that you've already approved. To change it now, we'd have to go back through the other budgets.
Not sure I completely understand that, but.
So,
The senior center
I've
is.
seen these movements of money on Parks and Rec funds, and I've never totally understood it. Is it because some people are paying for the programs
Correct.
and some people aren't, or?
It's because of loss of revenue during COVID where.
I see.
You're right. So they went into the red, now just getting them back out of the red,
I see.
making that fund whole.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
any other questions or comments? Seeing none? Oh, Representative Kopp.
Yes, thanks. I'm just looking at these numbers for fleet vehicles, and in 2022, it tells what the request was and what the town manager approved, 633, but I'm looking at the language on page 163, but it doesn't talk about the council or the RTM. My guess is if I turn the page, I'm going to see it and feel really dumb. No?
The fleet vehicles was set, it remained at 505 between town manager, town council, and then the RTM committee. So it's remained at the 505. Now, earlier on.
That was 23.
See,
I'm
the
asking about 22. Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can't speak off the top of my head what changed in 22. Because we usually have some changes most years.
Looks like you reduced by 250,000. The request was 575. You reduced it to 633. I just don't see the council and RTM numbers.
And I don't have this current year, it's only this one we're working on now.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions or Representative Aubry.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering on the TIF number, is there any money anyplace else for that program?
No, it's just for the one, or the couple districts. There hasn't been any funds generated yet.
Okay, and do we have funds in reserve if somebody should want to work with the TIF program?
That's not how it works. It's not an allotment of money. It's more of a, well, if they get the TIF dollars, then they pay a certain amount, get a certain amount back. So you don't give it up front. They pay it first, and then they get a certain amount back, depending on what your agreement says. So it's not like a economic development grant where you just give the money. So
Okay.
you don't keep money in there. Once you have money in that fund, you can use it for various things. You can move it into general fund. You could use it for beautification projects in that area, in the TIF district. Once you have money, it's for other things, not for the actual company or business.
I understood TIF to be perhaps maybe like a sewer line or something that adds to the property in order to work with the developer.
True, but they pay up front, and then we pay a certain percent back. They pay up front, though.
Over a period of time?
Yeah.
Do
We
have-
collect the taxes based on what the agreement says, and let's say it's 50% agreement, then we pay back 50% of the taxes. So we don't need money in there up front.
Okay, so how do they do it, we pay them back?
Portion of it, right.
Yeah. How do we do that?
To pay them back,
Yeah.
I'll bring city up, but finance pays it back. Depending on, they just pay per the agreement, return.
I mean,
but-
I should know this, and I apologize for the fact that I don't, and I'm asking these questions, but is it a tax situation for the payback? Do we maybe collect less taxes?
Well,
Oh, God, the big guns are up here.
Okay, I'm going to try to explain the way we accumulate the funds in the TIF.
Thank you.
When we started the TIF fund and we had a starting point, and then if the grand list increases in those two TIF districts, that's what this line item 10734 would transfer into the TIF fund. So you'll see the very first year, we did have some increase in the grand list, so we transferred the 3638 into the TIF fund. But this year, there was not an increase, there will be no contribution. So those funds will sit there and accumulate until we have a project that they'll be used for.
But it's not based on what they pay.
No, it's not. It's based on changes in the grand list, in the TIF district.
But you did have a question on, once they pay the full amount, we pay a certain point back. She was
Yes.
asking the mechanics of it.
So if, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not quite understanding, and I apologize for that, I should understand this better. But we got $3,638 in the grant,
In the TIF fund, yes.
Now, let's say we have a large project and we work out a TIF reimbursement or whatever you want to call it for $12,000.
That's
We
not
need,
how-
yeah, we do need to accumulate funds.
But not in terms of paying them back, in terms of the agreement. They pay up front, we pay a portion back. Those are two totally different things. This is just basically the increased value after something's been done. If you did a project and it was 100,000 before, and over time the value's gone up to 200,000, the TIF part's the 100,000 increase. That does not go to the developers, though, at all. None of this money ever goes to the developers. They pay up front for their taxes, and per the agreement, they get a portion back on their taxes. That does not flow through this. That's totally separate from this.
Now I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. No, we only have one number. The number is 1,685,530. All in favor, please raise your hand. I'm just giving the people online a chance. Those opposed, please. Representative Massett, are you in favor or opposed?
In favor.
Thank you. All those abstaining? Thomas, Surf.
speak out. You have to-
Representative Thomas, Representative Cerf, Representative Dean Chinbrot, I did not get a vote for you. She was a yes. Representative Dean Chinbrot? Did you get Whitney? Representative Whitney?
I abstain.
Thank you. And what about Representative Frickman?
Oh, sorry, I thought I voted yes.
You voted yes, thank you. Representative Dean Chinbrot?
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so that passes,
I didn't get the no's.
there were no no's. That passes 29 to 0 to 3. Did you have something you want to, can we still do one more before we?
Yep.
We can do one more, okay. Count 1075, capital reserve contribution.
We're doing 1075 first? Okay. Count 1075, capital reserve, found on page 192. Motion was made by Representative Chase for $3,297,000, was seconded by Representative Jacome. Our discussion was the reduction in this fund from our budget books of $7,636,000 to $3,297,000 is due to the ARPA funding for CIP projects. The new number is a reflection of the reserve amount the town needs to move forward. We discussed the seawall project, which if unable to have ARPA funding, we will see that return to this account. The unassigned ARPA funding of $4,315,654 is still available. Chairman Powers called for a vote, 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. The motion passed. $3,297,000. So moved.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Quick question about the money that was reserved for the seawall. It's my understanding that there's been a development in that situation.
Looks like they're going to get, what is it, 2.7 million funding through the State Bond Commission. Now, they don't have a final price yet, so theoretically, the hope is that those ARPA dollars will end up freeing up, but they don't have a final price yet, so I just talked to Mayor Hedrick today, and he said, you know, they think it might come in a little higher than that, so there might be a little bit of need, whether it's ARPA, whether it's something else, you know, that's to be determined. But great news, though, on the 2.7 million, that should be approved by the Bond Commission, so should free up a lot of ARPA dollars.
All right, so that 1.4 should, a good chunk of it will come back to us?
If not all, yeah.
Will be not obligated to that project?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Representative Aubry.
I noticed there's a significant difference between your number and the number that's here, town manager.
That was because of the use of ARPA dollars. Originally, it was going to be all general fund dollars, other than a little bit of LoSiP and other things, but the council chose to use ARPA dollars instead, grant dollars. So that lowered the amount.
Okay, thank you very much.
Representative Chase.
Just to clarify, Town Manager, do we take the 1.4 out of this 3.2 or no?
It was never put in this.
Oh,
It's
wasn't.
just at the council level, they just kind of said, let's not spend it for now until we know what's going on. It was never obligated, it was just put in reserve just in case needed.
Okay, so this is the number then?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other questions or comments, the number on the floor is $3,297,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Those online, if you can raise your hand if you're in favor of this. Okay, those opposed? Those abstaining? I have Representative Thomas, Representative Gardner, Representative Surf, Representative Whitney, and Frickman.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Representative Frickman?
I'm a yes.
Thank you. So that motion passes 29-0 to 3. All right. Last up, number 5010, Capital Reserve Fund, found on page 195.
Account 5010, Capital Reserve Fund, page 195. Motion was made by Representative Jacome for $5,797,000. Was seconded by Representative Chase. The discussion was the reduction of this budget reflects the ARPA funding to cover certain projects of CIPs. The ARPA coordinator, along with the town manager, seem to agree that this will not.
Can't hear you.
Oh, God. The ARPA coordinator, along with the town manager, seems to agree that this will not impact our ability to continue with our capital improvement projects. The ARPA program will cover certain infrastructure improvements, which will help further fund our projects. Director Landry is also in favor of these funds being used in this manner. Chairman Powers called for a vote. 6 were in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstention. The motion passed. $5,797,000 was moved.
Seconded by Chase.
Bailey, second.
Thank you.
He was second.
Any comments or questions to this number? Representative Surf.
Yes, the reason I've abstained on the last 2 votes is that we're pouring millions of dollars into these funds, which seem to me to have somewhat similar objectives. Now, call me stupid, and also, since I was ill when the budget came out, I wasn't able to go over it in detail, but we just finished putting $4 million into a fund close to that, and now there's another $7 million, which
5 million.
for well, the council got it down, but it's still a huge amount of money for capital reserve. We have general fund, we have capital reserve, we have CIPs, we have all the retirement funds. How much money do we have in the bank anyway with all these funds?
I think there's a little confusion as to what this is. The capital reserve contribute, this one is where you actually expend the dollars out of it, including the sewer, $2 million for the sewer ones. The other one is moving the dollars in to pay it. So they're really just a moving of money. It's not 2 separate things. They're really for the same project. They don't total up on top of each other. It's just saying.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Okay, so it's not extra money,
No.
you're just moving it from one. I remember that now. Okay, all right, I feel better. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other hands raised, we do have a couple things that have to happen after this, so don't throw up. Representative Bailey?
Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay, the number we are voting on is $5,797,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, all those opposed, please raise your hand. Anyone abstaining, please raise your hand. That motion passes 31-0 to 1. So, now that all of the minutes have been read, are there any corrections that need to be made to the minutes? Seeing none, all the minutes are approved. Representative Surf, did you have something that you wanted to bring up?
I would like to make a motion to rescind a previous vote that was taken, and that is for the OPEB fund, which was account 10713, page 88.
Okay. So, hold on. Before we get too far into this, wait a second.
I just made my motion.
So
I need a second.
Wait. Before we go there, I'm gonna just discuss what's the proper motion.
Okay.
So instead of a motion to rescind, which you would need to have, you would just be basically taking all the money away. Are you proposing $0 is my question, so that I make sure we get the.
Let me clarify too.
Yep.
That's the whole self-funded item, not just OPEB. If you did a motion to rescind, it wipes out the healthcare fund, everything, and you can't reconsider it. So what you want to do probably is a motion to amend previously approved motion.
Amend something previously adopted.
Adopted, yeah.
I
Yep.
actually originally tried to do that, was just to zero that one line item.
This would be
Okay.
the whole thing, though. You can amend it to zero just the one line.
You mean the
item.
whole thing, like, well, I can't rescind, you mean the whole $11 million?
No, because it was one number, so if you rescind and vote, it's completely gone. It would wipe out that whole fund, the whole
Right.
1071. So what you would do is you're doing a motion to amend previously adopted by amending the OPEB amount from whatever it was to zero. That's.
Well,
what-
yeah, I had wanted to zero it out originally,
It's just a formatting of the question.
and that
of the
failed,
motion.
but I voted in favor of the 449, which would give me the option to, I guess, either rescind or reconsider.
You want to
whichever-
make to amend something previously adopted.
Right.
So just so the body is aware, we went through this today, and the original question was, do you make a motion to reconsider? That doesn't fit because you have to do it within a certain amount of time. It is 3710B. For those of you who want to read Robert's rules with me, could do a book club, it'd be great. So then we talked about a motion to rescind, which is what Town Manager Burt talked about, that you would basically zero out the whole
It's
item.
like it never happened.
Like it never happened, which would lose the entire $11,265,544.
And you couldn't
which-
reconsider it.
Correct. Which gives you the motion to amend something previously adopted, which you can then look at the entire thing and make a motion to take out the 449,000.
From the
plus.
11 million.
To get there, just so we're all on the same page, if you don't do it, don't make an announcement the meeting before, then if there's no notice of the motion to rescind or amend something previously adopted, the motion may be as follows. I move to rescind the motion relating to whatever, adopted at the such and such meeting. Without previous notice, the motion requires a 2/3 vote or a majority of the entire membership for the adoption. So our entire membership is 39 people. So you're either going to need 2/3 vote to even consider it of the body here, or 20 people.
Okay, so, right now I made the motion,
You're making a motion to amend.
the motion to amend. Okay, so that would be to amend the 11 million or the 449,000?
You're making a motion to amend the 11 million?
I'd have to subtract 449 from that?
Correct.
Can somebody do that? Well, I can do it, but it's gonna take some time. 449,707. Okay, and I have my second, and now I can explain.
Page
All right, better get
88.
it on the board first.
And what was your number that
Point
you are?
point of order,
Yes.
point of order.
Representative Whitney, yes. You're breaking up really badly.
For this motion, can we either put it in writing or?
There's
For
not a
motion,
time.
Can we either put it in writing or just have it clearly stated? 'Cause I'm losing
Yep, I
track
will
of
restate
exactly
it.
what the motion is.
I'll restate it as soon as the motion gets on the board and we have a second. So what is the number that you are proposing?
What is it,
One
John?
more time, 10 million?
Okay. Thank you, John.
Have we voted on that number already? hold on one second. I just want to make sure. And that was a motion made by Representative Surf, seconded by Representative Chase. One moment, please. There was one thing we didn't check.
Okay, so.
Hold on. I need clarification on one thing. So Representative Whitney, so you're aware of what's going on. There was a motion to amend something previously adopted, which is account 10713. The amount that is proposed is $10,815,847. I am
Was previously voted on.
It was previously voted on and voted down, so that is not allowed.
Okay. So now I would like to explain myself.
Hold on. This motion can't happen because it's already been voted no.
What do you mean it's already been voted no?
When it went through on May 11th, that number was put up and that number was voted no. We cannot re-vote on that number.
I believe you can if it's at least in the motion to reconsider, you can. You can vote, you can explain why you're changing your mind.
You're not
basically, and
doing
you
a
can
motion
vote
to
again.
consider,
Everybody votes
you're
again.
doing a motion to amend something previously adopted. That number has already been voted on and it's been voted down, so we can't re-vote the same number. Representative Thomas.
If hypothetically the number was changed by 100,000, and would that be significant enough to enable a vote to happen right now?
Sure.
So if we left $100,000 in the OPEB line item and made it 10,950,000, yeah.
Is that the number that you would like, Representative Surf?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second, Thomas.
Okay. So hold on, Representative Whitney and those on board or online, just so that you're aware of the numbers. The number is now $10,915,847. Representative Kopp.
Thank you. The account for this, for that total amount, is actually 1071. The 13 is the specific OPEB. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Representative Massett. Oh, I'm sorry, hold
Wait a
on.
minute, it's
Hold
my
on,
turn
I'm
now,
sorry, hold
because
on, hold on. I need to let Representative Surf give her reasoning.
I get to speak to my motion
Yes,
now.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I just want to explain something about these retirement funds for starters. And the example I had was with your grocery bill. If you have to go and shop for groceries for $50 a week, that means that you need $2,600 a year to shop for your groceries. Well, most of the time you won't think about it. You're paying your groceries out of pocket, the $50. Everything's fine. And suddenly somebody tells you, oh no, you shouldn't do that anymore. You have to build up a savings account that will generate enough income so that you can pay your groceries out of the income from that savings account. So let me explain the numbers here. $50 a week times 52 weeks, that's $2,600 a year. So at 10% interest, which is very high on a savings account, you would need $26,000 in your savings account to pay for your groceries. At something more reasonable, like 5% interest, you need $52,000 in your savings account to pay for your $50 a week groceries. Now, I'm sure that all of you, if you think about it, and I tell you, okay, either you have to build up this $52,000 savings account, or you can go on paying $50 out of your pocket, but it's not guaranteed you'll always have the $50, so you'd be better off with a savings account. And most likely you'd say, I'd rather pay the $50 out of pocket, especially since when you have the savings account, interest rates can fluctuate, income can fluctuate, which is what happens to our funds. If the stock market crashes, we lose a bunch, we have to put a whole bunch more in. And right now in this fund, which we were not obliged to have in the good old days, as I'll say, the edict that came from Hartford, we had the pension fund, but we didn't have this retiree benefits fund. And that came from Hartford, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago, that we had to start build up this fund. Now, what they want us to do is to have a $60 million fund to do this. But while we're building up the fund, we still have to pay $2 million out of pocket for the retiree benefits because the fund isn't built up yet. So we're paying the $2 million to actually pay for the benefits. That's how you would pay a normal grocery bill. Plus, we're paying a bucket loads of millions of dollars into the savings account, which is not guaranteed, especially in this geopolitical climate. It's not guaranteed to be safe. So it really is not all that necessary. If you think about it, if you're having a rough year, which we have, we could easily zero this out. Now, the second point of my argument, and I'll go very quickly because that's the little chart that I handed out. And by the way, I put a reference to the state statutes on OPEB's funds, and I put a reference also to a phase-in of the property values, which we should have had. And I'll write something more about that to send you. But right now, if you look at the taxes the way they are, residential, if you look at the little chart, I put the increase and the decrease in the assessment for residential, and I put the resulting tax changes. And you will see that, especially if you look at residential, 3,000 people are going to pay less tax, 7,000 people are going to pay between 0 and 25% more tax, 485 people are going to pay between 25 and 50% more tax, 82 people are going to pay between 51 and 75% more tax. That is a lot more tax for residential than we had last year. Meanwhile, commercial industrial, if you look at those charts, those numbers are unbelievable because we actually have a decrease in assessment for 239 of our commercial establishments, which is about a quarter of them, and 654 of them are going to pay less tax. Now, that I really question because if we're really busting our guts here to bring business into town and to have business help us with the grand list and with the taxes, they're doing absolutely the opposite. Business is now costing us money to the tune of the fact that we're going to pay $2.5 million more. Residential will pay $2.5 million more in taxes than commercial industrial this year, which is a full 3%, which is about $200 per person. It's a lot more for residential. And what I was going to urge you to do is go to the town council. If you don't, you know, we would need to cut about $2 million out of this budget to even get even again with last year. If we don't do some of it tonight, I urge you to go to the town council meeting next week where you can speak as yourselves or R.T.M members and ask them to take another couple of $1 million out of the budget. Otherwise, some people here are going to get absolutely killed with taxes. And the result was we're going to lose even more residents, you know, the people that have been our neighbors and our friends for years. And God only knows what's going to happen to our town. But this is unsustainable, what happened here.
Thank you, Representative
The
Surf.
solution would have been a phase-in of the assessment, which was never proposed. It should have been. We did it 15
I need you
years
to
ago. and it
focus
worked
just
like
on
a
this
charm.
topic. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm done.
so,
That was 5 minutes, wasn't it?
so we are clear. We are voting not for this number. We are voting whether or not we want to allow this motion to come up. Okay? Are there any questions just on that? So we are not voting on this number. We are voting whether or not we are going to reconsider account 1071. Not reconsider. Amend something previously adopted. I'll get the right language. So we are,
I don't think that's the case. I think it is the only motion. The reconsider is a two-step motion. These two motions are a one-step motion. You're actually moving to amend it. If you look at Robert's rules, it actually says it's a one-step motion.
without a previous motion, the motion requires a 2/3 vote
Correct.
or a majority of the entire membership for its adoption. You're right, I'm sorry. All right, let's start that over. So then I will allow discussion on this point. So I had Representative Massett with her hand up. It's a majority.
It's not to this point, Madam
Okay.
Moderator.
Representative Powers. Representative Bailey had his hand up.
Well, I did, but not.
Representative Scott?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. This is something that I spoke for quite a bit of time on when we discussed it before. That's why I was very quick to come up with that original number. I think what Representative Cerf left on the table here is kind of some startling percentages. If you look on the sheet that she handed out, there's a section that starts with a blue bar, and it talks about the amount of, if I'm reading this right, the amount of money that we're putting away. No, actually, I'm sorry, that's the mill rate. Never mind. But we are putting away a higher number than most other towns into OPEB. And that's why I had moved to take the number completely out. I think this isn't the year for us to have savings accounts. And the way the motion reads, we're not going to be, because we can't move the original number that I had put up because it's failed, that we're still going to put $100,000 away. But as Representative Cerf said earlier, this seems like a folly in the sense that we're chasing a number that we may never get to. So I would support this $10,915,000. I would encourage everybody else to do the same. Thanks.
Representative Thomas?
Bailey, second.
Oh, we're not voting right now.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just to clarify the parliamentary aspects, this is a one-move motion?
Yes.
And so we're voting, what would be a successful vote for this number?
20 votes.
20. It needs to be the
20.
two-thirds number?
It needs to be 50% of the total body, total membership, which is 39. So that would be 20. Or 2/3, which would be 21 tonight.
2/3 of those
Oh,
present.
Hold on. We have 30. You're right. I'm sorry. So we need 16.
16, all right. So
16 votes.
2/3
Thank
of
you
those
for the
present,
clarification.
or
We need
50%
16.
of the whole body.
I'm sorry. We have 32 people in attendance currently.
So you need 2/3 of those.
So it's. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. 2/3 vote or 50%. Good gosh. So I need 20. Yes, I was right the first time. I need 20 votes because it's either 2/3 of who is here, or which would be 21.
Because of a fraction.
22, or 50% of the entire body, which would be 20.
Okay, so there's 32 people still in attendance right now?
There are 32 people in attendance.
32 RTM members.
Yes.
Okay.
5, 6,
All right,
7,
so
8,
16,
9.
no, sorry,
We have
21 is the
10
number.
people online,
Mhm.
and we have 22 people in the room.
All right.
You're-
All right, well,
So 20
all right.
votes.
Great, thank you for that clarification. So yeah, in regards to the number, I was in support of the reduced number when it first came up, and I'm in support of it now. I think Representative Cerf did a great job as far as creating an analogy. As you know, there's a certain problematic aspect to the way the numbers work that, you know, make it seem that, you know, it might be a better value to kind of pay out of pocket. But all in all, it seems like it's a place where we could trim up this year and hold fire and, you know, maybe reassess moving forward. So I'd encourage support for this number. Thank you.
Representative Chase.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Not to beat a dead horse, but we could have saved $1.7 million by staying at MBR for the school budget and have her use her $2 million savings account and DOD money.
Representative Massett.
Just a question, Madam Moderator, for the town manager. The number that is in our budget book, is that the number that is done by the actuary who says this is what you need in order to be up to date?
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions or comments, we will take a roll call vote. So just to be clear, the number that we have is a motion to amend account 1071. The original vote on May 11th was for $11,265,554. The amendment tonight is $10,915,847. We will need 20 votes for this to pass.
Adams? Bailey?
Yes?
Burrell?
No.
Bright?
Yes.
Casper?
No.
Surf? Chase? Cop? Dean Shinbrot?
Yes.
Frickman?
Representative Frickman?
Yes.
Fritchie? No. Gardner?
Yes.
Guinipiero?
Yes.
Gustafson? No. Hanscom?
No.
Jacome? No. Massett?
No.
Merritt? No. Aubrey? No. K. Powers?
No.
S. Powers?
No.
Pacino?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
Cimarero?
No.
Thomas?
Yes.
B.C. Williams?
No.
Watson?
No.
Weaver? Yes. Wells?
No.
White?
No.
Whitney?
No.
And Rusk.
No. That motion fails. There are 13 who are in favor, 19 who are opposed. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. I'll second.
Motion to adjourn was made by Representative Sean Powers, seconded by Representative Jacome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you. This was a very productive budget session. I appreciate all of
everyone.
your time and energy.